My abusive boyfriend threatened me with violence if I wore my dress to a birthday party because it was too revealing, so I wore an even more revealing one. My boyfriend was someone who was very controlling, and when I was with him, I really had no true freedom of my own. It started with small things. He would tell me not to order wine when we would have dinner, or tell me not to order extra cheese on my pasta as I shouldn't need the extra calories. Stuff like this makes me think that he started out small, making me question my self-worth a lot, and changing my perception of myself to an alcoholic, a girl who should be skinnier, etc. Once he had my self-image ruined, he used this as an opportunity to try to escalate his controlling behavior. The control was gradual. He would first tell me I was not allowed to have male friends. I was okay with it. Then I was not allowed to go out to clubs without him. Then I was never allowed to go out to clubs, even if I asked him to join. Then I could no longer go out at all, even for lunch or dinner with one of my girlfriends. Whenever I defied these rules of his, I would get verbally abused and yelled at. The very first time he yelled at me, I cried a lot. I come from an abusive household where yelling is associated with physical violence. The first time I went against him and had to stand up for myself was when he told me I was not allowed to go meet up with a friend who flew in from Italy for the first time in a year. Up to this point I would class him as emotionally abusive, but not verbally. But this time he yelled at me, and called me stupid. I cried after that, seriously believing he would hurt me. The fact he yelled hurt as he knew how much trauma I have surrounding it. I suppose I can thank him however, as nowadays when someone yells at me I am no longer affected by it. This is because he has yelled at me so much that I have stopped responding. I have stopped reacting. It got to a point where every single time I stepped out of line, he would yell at me. Every time I would nod my head, apologize, promise not to do it again, then have him coerce me into intimacy. I think I mentally checked out of the relationship a long time ago. I just never had the strength to end it. Well, my opportunity to end it came when a birthday party of my best friend came around. The party was going to be at her house, and it was her 22nd birthday. She gave me an invite, but partially expected me not to go. She knew about my situation and no matter how much she tried to talk me into ending it, she never managed to fully convince me. He was also a scary-looking guy, very tall and intimidating-looking, so she never got in his face. I think she was almost as scared of him as I was. When she gave me the invite, I looked at it for a long time. It was a simple text on my phone but I couldn't get over it. I desperately wanted to attend. I decided I would risk asking my boyfriend if I could go. He yelled, told me no, and once again I just nodded and apologized for asking. I was going to tell my friend no, but then something clicked. I had a flashback of my mother. She was just like me, trapped in a miserable relationship with a man she hated for 20 years. My father was super controlling of her and of us, and when I was a kid I never understood why she never just left. Now I understood. And in that moment I vowed not to be like her. I told my friend I was going, regardless of what my boyfriend said. She hyped me up. The next day, the day of the party, while he was at work I went dress shopping. I found a perfect dress with an open shoulder and a slit on my side, exposing a bit of my side and nothing else. It was down to just under my knees. I sent my friend a picture and showed her. She hyped me up again. I then texted my boyfriend. I told him I was going whether he liked it or not, and told him I was done having him control me. Either he can let me live my life with him, or without him. I was in my boss beach era. My boyfriend was of course not willing to relinquish control of me. He responded frantically, asking me what the F I was doing, asking me if I wanted to get roped because it looked like I was in reference to the dress I was wearing. We went back and forth and I was not letting up. At the end of our conversation I gave in to him. The only reason I'd been to him was because he threatened me. This was the first time he has ever threatened to lay hands on me. I was shook to my core, and I was truly frightened. Fine, have it your way, I'm not showing up, I responded to him by the end. He seemed pleased at this. I texted my friend explaining what had happened, but she seemed insistent on me coming. She told me I could crash at hers. She assured me that her older brother would accompany me to get my stuff whenever I wanted back from my boyfriend's. She called me and we had a very serious and long talk where she convinced me to grow a pair and leave my boyfriend. By this point 4 hours had gone by since I last texted my boyfriend and I was at my best friend's party. I got a call from my boyfriend asking where the F I was, and I told him I was at the party. He got flustered and told me, I thought you said you're not showing up, so I responded, yeah, not showing up back to yours. We're over. Then I hung up without letting him speak again. I went on to send him a picture of the dress I was wearing out of spite. This one was way more revealing, showing some honker, midriff, and most of my legs. I knew he would go absolutely berserk if he saw it. Right after sending him this I blocked him. The party was great and I crashed at my best friend's place. This went down yesterday. He actually showed up at my best friend's place this morning but she owns a pit bull. My, now ex-boyfriend I suppose, did not want to engage at all once he saw the pit bull through the window.